Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to IBM TV Saturday's chess show. My name is Sasha Star, and I would like immediately introduce my esteemed guest, Professor Ken Regan. Welcome to our show. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you very much for having
Thank
me.
Thank you so much for making it out. I know how busy you are.
It is a beautiful summer day here.
Well, we still have a summer. I think you're not too far from Toronto, so I would assume that you have fantastic weather today, as we do. Oh, that's great. I'm glad to hear that. So we would like to have a talk. We will later on have our guest panelist, Grandmaster Mikhail Marin, and his lovely wife, Maria, who is a fantastic artist, and hopefully we will have some of her new paintings to see. So we would like to talk today about what makes chess so enjoyable. Why so many people? Some people estimated that 700 million people are playing at least occasionally a game of chess, and that's by far the fantastic number. Supersedes probably any other game, as I'm concerned. What would be your thoughts, Professor Regan?
Yes, so my thoughts actually are that chess is enjoyable because it is not so simply mathematical. It has a lot of variety in how the pieces move. It has patterns that are like a painting as opposed to like an abstract inkblot type pattern. So the pieces each have their own colors. They combine for geometrical lines of various kinds. And so therefore you can get absorbed into the game because it excites not just your mathematical and logical sense, but also your sense of artistry and liking to look at pictures. And as you become good at the game, various kingside checkmating patterns, various endgame patterns all become like pictures at an exhibition.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting thoughts. You know, one thing what frustrates me about chess is because it is a game, so people for last few thousand years, they always enjoy games, whether it's dice or some kind of card games, and of course now chess. The present variation of chess, modern chess, is with us for the last 1,500 years or so,
Right.
With all the modern rules and everything else.
The crazy queen.
Sorry?
With the crazy queen.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But you see, what makes chess so unique is that while it's a game, an enjoyable game, it's very complicated game, and there is a contradiction. How so complicated can be so enjoyable? Because when I was young, I studied music, and I studied violin and piano. And what frustrates me about violin still is, let me be straightforward with you, that on piano you have 88 keys, and by pressing key, you already have a sound.
Right.
In violin, you have 4 strings and a bow.
Right.
But basically, you have no sound, unless you're playing back and forth the same string. Okay, maximum 4 strings, so you have 4 sounds. That's it. On piano, you have 88 sounds, and all you have to do to press right keys in the right time, and you already have wonderful music. And basically, all the great pianists like Vladimir Horowitz or so on, basically all they were doing, they were pressing right keys in the right time. They did it extremely well.
Yeah.
On violin is different. You have to create sound. There is no sound really to speak of, so you have to create your sounds. And chess is the same thing. It takes a while from mastering the just movements of pieces to find the harmony, how they play together, supporting each other, and play together in the attack.
That's right. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Ken?
Yeah, well, you're certainly right. Like playing your rook pawns up and then moving your rook up 2 squares is just like plucking a string on a guitar. And there may be no other artistry than that. You're not yet harmonizing or coordinating your pieces. So I think, yes, especially to understand how they cohere. With a violin, of course, although you say there are only 4 strings, if you have 10 different positions on each of those strings, then even if you rigidly adhere to those positions, you still have 10 to the 4th power is 10,000 different sounds you can make. Of course, most of those sounds are probably horribly discordant, but anyway, there are certainly going to be several hundred that are good. And then the artistry of a violin is that you can vary the sound just slight little bit, put a little overtone on it. You can make up for the fact that actually pianos, all of the world's pianos are out of tune because they have to use equal temperament. And so that's what Johann Sebastian Bach made us standardize on, which is a good idea. But as I said, you can get just slight improvement in tune by how you pressure the string in a violin and make it more concordant in a certain key rather than equal tempered. And maybe that slight advantage in chess is what separates the grandmaster from the mere master.
Well, it's a very interesting subject. I'm ready to discuss it for the next 7.5 hours. But the only thing, first of all, what I'd like to emphasize one thing about violin. Unlike guitar, it doesn't have positions. In fact, you have to create your own note. By unless I don't know, on piano, I think you don't need a perfect pitch to play piano. In fact,
Right.
I'm aware of some great pianists who didn't have perfect pitch and were fantastic musicians. On violin, on the other hand, I can't imagine how one can become a great violinist without perfect pitch. I think it's unthinkable. It's just cannot happen, really. So he can become a good guitar player, maybe, but maybe I never experimented on that one. But on the violinist, can figure out how you would become Sarasate or Yashahe if it's without absolute pitch.
Yeah, my wife and I heard Itzhak Perlman play in person a year ago. That was wonderful.
Really? Mm.
Yes.
I heard in person when I was very young Isaac Stern. I was still in Odessa, and he was visiting. He had a concert, but also he was a guest of our special music school where I studied at the time. And he played. I think it was Introduction and Rondo Capriccioso by Saint-Saëns. And then he came to the edge of the scene and started to talk to all people around. And he knew some Russian, I think he knew very well Yiddish and was English. And so he was communicating like it was incredible. People had so joy, and he was a fantastic person. Now coming to chess, so it takes obviously a great development of a player to start to play some meaningful games. And there are some people who, in my opinion, just unteachable. For example, I have a very good friend of mine whose grandson became interested in chess, and he came over with him for me to sort of maybe give him advice or help him a little bit to appreciate the game. So I said, okay, let's just play a simple game. So you're right. He started h4, rook h3, and so on.
Right, yeah.
I asked him, and he lost, and he asked to play right away second game. And I asked him, okay, we will play second game, but I asked you, have you considered to play e4 instead of h4? And then maybe you play bishop c4, and maybe you'll even do checkmate in 4, kindermate. He said, yeah, it's possible, but I love my rook into the game. Okay, let's play the game. He didn't want to listen to anything what I would suggest. He wanted just to play the game. But you know what? Maybe, just maybe he will be a good chess player in time, and he will lose another 25 games by playing h4 and rook h3.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I'm so frustrated that he will look into some other possibilities. Maybe he will play next time a4, rook h3 instead, and see how that one works. We'll see that. by the way, if you really try to understand what is chess all about, uh, aside aspects of chess being an art, chess is being a part of a human history too. It's obviously the part of civilization, any way you look at it. But the
There's
more,
just,
if you yeah, if you'll take very crude approach of what chess is a selection of moves. And whoever has greater selection of moves, whose moves are better, will probably, most likely, win the game. Would you agree?
that's right. Yeah, if you have a greater linguistic vocabulary of what are possible chess moves, then yes, you will win. I will say that when I was 6 years old and would play against my father always played the same motif. He always he had his bishop on the diagonal to my king on G1 or G8, and then he would play his knight up and exchange his knight and bishop for my rook and pawn.
Mm-hmm.
So I had these two extra minor pieces, and often I could chase his army around. And that was a motif for our games that I learned. And eventually I learned to coordinate my pieces well enough to win. But a lot of our games had him do that around move 8 or 9 in the game. Talking about chess and history, though, one of the mysteries for me is, 1,000 years ago, there were many variations of chess, and a lot of them used much larger boards with bigger armies. So what caused the game to standardize on the 8x8 board, which was among the smaller boards? So, I mean, there's Tamerlane's chess, which I think was 11x11. I'd have to look in my chess variants book to get it. And there's a reason for talking about this now, because Vladimir Kramnik and Google DeepMind have just released a paper, which I still have not had time to really read, about analyzing the viability and structural nature of different chess variants. Like, which ones might be more computer retardant, which ones are more drawerish, which ones, that maybe is an open question. But here, of course, I'm talking about a paper I haven't had time to read yet because I've been insanely busy again. But it can align with the subject that you're bringing up.
Okay, one of the best-known variation of chess, which was played just recently in a fairly big online tournament with participation of Garry Kasparov and Carlsen. So is the Fischer Random 960, or however else you would like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, many games in so many moves gravitate to a normal chess positions sooner or later. Second,
I noticed that. Indeed.
You noticed that, right?
I was asked to analyze those games, and I thought, well, gosh, I have to wait until after castling because that's the one move that I don't have programmed. And then the position looked pretty normal.
Right. But there's something else. I played many games, Fischer Random. We have it as a variation in our site, Chess Stars. I found one thing. Yeah, it's possible to play. I mean, you can probably try to put all your pawns on the third row and pieces on the first, or maybe even second row. I mean, there are several things you can manipulate and get variations of chess. But, unlike normal chess, there is no inherent some kind of a harmony of pieces of pawns, which is a great part of a normal chess. Somehow, I have some friends who believe that chess was not invented by human beings. It was brought to us from outer space because human beings are just...
I would rather believe that.
Never,
I would
never invent such a game, such a fantastic game like chess. Okay, I'll leave it right open. After all, there are some people believe that the Earth is not round but flat, and there are many theories, of course. However, whoever invented chess, or at least the modern chess, which is around with us for
Mhm.
last 1500 years, in that chess, there is a certain harmony from the very first move. You play e4 from white side, and then let's see e5 from black side. You already have a position which requires a certain logical continuation from
Mhm.
both white and black and so on. Now in Fischer random, I couldn't feel that. Maybe it's there. Maybe maybe I just can't figure out that. However, let me
Right. I'm
first of all.
surprised, like after 5 moves, that the battle has already begun in Fischer Random. But
Mhm.
I've not had experience with Fischer Random. Maybe Grandmaster Mikhail Marin and Maria Eugenia have had more.
Excellent.
They can tell us. They are here now, so they can tell us
Excellent.
what it's
Excellent.
like.
I'd love to introduce our dear guests,
Mhm.
Grandmaster Mikhail Marian and his lovely wife. Maria, how are you? Oh, the cat is there.
Yes, of course.
And the cat.
Hello, everybody.
Has the
The
cat
cat
played
is there.
Fischer Random?
Maria, I'd like to apologize for last time. Somehow I didn't have the time to introduce your wonderful paintings because we deviated into discussions about coronavirus. And today we are not going to discuss coronavirus, but rather see your wonderful paintings. Do you have anything to show us?
Okay, I show my last painting. My now is my favorite painting.
Oh,
It frequently happens that her favorite painting is
Just
the last one, but not always.
Okay.
just
A twirling chess variant.
I love your colors. It's just amazing.
but I don't know how.
How to hold it?
I don't know. And
Beautiful.
here
It's so beautiful.
is the Anna Musical Games. It's a very beautiful game with the Zugzwang, with white. And yes, this is like this.
Oh, what a creative, great work of art, Maria. Thanks so much. Something else that you have? Or
She just
we
put
took
her last painting for today.
so for next Saturday, we'll leave it there,
Okay.
right? Excellent. Thank you so much. We have a very interesting discussion about chess, its origins, how to enjoy game. We are talking about somewhat about Fischer Random 960 chess. And there was recently, as you know, a big tournament where Kasparov and Carlsen and others were playing. And in my opinion, the big difference between the Fischer Random chess and probably not only that, but all other different forms of chess. Ken Regan just mentioned that there were many years ago, or centuries ago, variation 11 by 11 chess board, and much larger army, of course, or so. But we are talking about, let's say, the difference between modern chess, as we know, and Fischer Random chess. See, in modern chess, there are inherited harmony of pieces and pawns, how they coordinate with each other. And let's see, even if you play first move e4 and black answers e5, okay, we already have a position that requires a certain harmony of continuation or efficient continuation from both white and black. Right? Probably on the second move already knight f3 is considered to be the strongest move, probably is. So there are certain requirements already that you cannot deviate from them without some damage to your position. However, in Fischer Random chess, because there are so many opening positions, it's very difficult until several years later it gravitates toward normal chess. If you take random chess game and look at the position, say 25, 30 moves later, it's becoming a normal chess position sooner or later, right? So, but at the beginning, there is no coordination. And also I'm afraid that there are some positions with obvious flaws where white all of a sudden can gain substantial advantage on the second or third move. In some variations, I guess. Mikhail, what do you think about this?
Well, if I'm allowed, we also heard a few minutes before being connected. We heard a few minutes what we are talking about. So I will try to give a global answer. Yeah, first of all, this harmony, the fact that the game of chess was not invented by a human, but well, I know that there having such a calculation. Each piece has received a score, let's say, and this score was obtained by summing up all the possible moves of the piece by placing the piece successively on all the board squares. So we have the knight, which is the weakest, and then the bishop, then the rook, and the queen. And the proportion between these scores is very close to the golden number, which has been a dream for the mathematicians.
Okay. Kenya, do you agree?
I agree. But so what's the ratio that's close to the golden number?
160 something.
1.6180339. Yeah.
Something like yes.
To be precise.
How does that occur on the chessboard? That's
no. Okay. You take the knight to the score to the knight, and you put it on A1. You see how many available moves it has. Then on A2, and so on, and you sum up all these possible moves. Yeah. So it's 2 on A1. On B1, it's already 3, I believe. So it's 5. On A3, it's 4. It's 9, and so on.
However, it can jump, unlike other pieces, right?
Yes. Of course, in practice, we know that knight and bishops are okay. In Russia, they if you got a bishop against a knight, they would call it the small exchange.
Okay.
But it's not. Sometimes the knight can be stronger, of course, than the bishop, and usually. But okay, there is this proportion which, of course, people could not have made up these things. So there must have been some inspiration. Also, the fact that the game of chess is practically illimited, meaning that all the possibilities, if we count them, then they are bigger. The number is by far bigger than the number of atoms in universe estimated. It's also an indication that it's quite a game. But these two things they don't speak against the Fischer random chess, because the same things apply there. Okay, and if you think that there are these 960 possible positions, then actually the number of possibilities is even bigger. I have always worked on my openings, but usually I try to play openings which were not fashionable. So I'm not the kind of guy. I mean, we see now that in matches they frequently play just e4, e5 and go for the Berlin, and white gets scared and plays d3.
Yeah.
I mean, if we see a match when out of the not so many games, 12 short matches they play nowadays, if we have 8 like this, then I mean, what's the fun to follow? I mean, you understand. So I don't go with the fashion so much. But I'm also not so happy about Fischer, even though I treasure almost everything what Fischer did on the board, and also, I mean, off the board, everything, all the principal things he did. I mean, he would fight for good conditions for the playing hall, for his fee as a strong grandmaster, but he would never earn easy money by posing for advertisement. If he, for instance, he considered that Coca-Cola and coffee, these are not good things, so he would not get paid for advertising such things.
So do you think he was right by refusing, say, Coca-Cola advertising money, $2 million?
I would have signed, of course. I would have posted.
Well, obviously you signed, but no, I'm asking about the Fischer refusing that and many other opportunities. By accepting that, he could bring huge money into chess, and even if he personally would not willing to use this money, he could use this money to promote chess, to organize maybe more tournaments, and so
no, from
a very different picture now.
From practical point of view, of course, you are right. But okay, he was made up like this. I mean, okay, Maria considers that this is just a sign that he was a bit, not completely normal. I consider that, okay, this principled attitude helped him becoming as strong as he was.
Okay.
I mean,
we can agree with that.
But okay, during the Fischer-Spassky match, the Reykjavik match, Grigorich writes that he already rejected several offers with 6 digits.
Wow.
Just imagine how much money that meant in 1972. So once he won the world championship, I believe he could have done that. But okay, we're all somehow slaves of our own destiny. So his destiny was to be interested in chess as it is. And then he could have switched, but okay, he was made like this. I mean, okay, if he had this option, this button of switching to practical, maybe he would not have been recorded as now he is. So, but anyway, with the Fischer random chess, okay, my feelings are mixed. It's somehow I feel that it's a Rubik's cube, which was it looks messy, and then you have to put it in order.
Right. Yes.
So the first 15 moves. This is the task. And okay, talking now about opening preparation. Where there was Kasparov who played in a few St. Louis events. First it was Rapid and Blitz normal chess. And okay, actually there it was very clear that okay, his results were not really great. Not disastrous, but not catastrophic, but not really great. And it was mainly because after some time he would blunder. But his class of play and also his opening preparation, which is a very old opening preparation, he stopped playing in 2005, was not worse than his opponents. Actually, I believe it was by 1 class higher. And still, okay, since time advances and people analyze with the computers, for him, in principle, the Fischer random should be good. And he had this match against Caruana, Rapid and Blitz, which he lost, of course, quite convincingly. But if you look at the games, at the Rapid games, in Blitz, he was too slow. But if you look at the Rapid games, you again understand that he is a big guy playing chess with some kid who tries to understand what is chess about. I mean, there is no comparison. I mean, he has a very high class. So still, but it's this initial harmony. I mean, okay, it's
right. So if I may share my screen, I can ask a question about whether you might have more harmony this way. So I have proposed a version that you might call chess 960 squared, because it is not symmetrical. So let's see. So now, do you see baseline chess with Fischer rules?
Wait a sec. Yes, okay, I can see now.
Yes, so this is the chess variant pages, which are maintained by Hans Bodländer, who's also a noted computer scientist in my field, as well as chess fan. So this is Fischer random, except that you have the choice of how to place your pieces on the back row, subject to putting the bishop on different colors and the king between the rooks.
Ken, but it has a name. It's a Bronstein's chess.
It is Bronstein's chess, exactly.
Invented this variation.
Fischer castling rule, exactly. So this is, I think I mentioned Bronstein. No, I guess I don't have Bronstein mentioned here, but of course, yes, it is Bronstein chess. And Paul Banker and Arthur Bisquire played a similar match without the Fischer castling rule, but with this. I've played it. I played it against Jan Elvest, but he chose to place his pieces in the normal pattern as white. And I played it against Hikaru Nakamura and actually got a good game. That was it. Those were in 2006, 2007. I've not played it since. So I have.
Ken, I love this variation way more than Fischer Random because here, you eliminate computer's position and you create your own positions the way you want.
Right, exactly. There should be another page with me here, but I'm not finding it. So let me just go back. There's a different variant which I can mention later, but I'll stop sharing and come back.
Oh yeah, but Bronstein's idea is fantastic idea, but Bronstein was very inventive. I had the pleasure to meet him in London in 1989 when there were matches. I think Karpov was playing Yusupov and Tiemann was playing, I think he was playing, what's his name, Goodman, candidate matches. And I spent quite a lot of time with Bronstein, and he was telling me about all his ideas and so on. This is just one of them. He had also idea, and in fact, many years ago, he had a match with Michael Tal, where they were playing simultaneously 4 games. In 2 games he was white, and in 2 games he was black.
Playing 4 games, yeah. Oh, that's fun, yeah.
Right, and all games were playing with the clock. And it's quite interesting. It's kind of a game and a match at the same time. So that eliminates quick draws, because even if you will go for a draw, you will evaluate your other 3 games before you would agree to a draw. So or even offer a draw. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah,
that's
There's
interesting. Very
Chess,
interesting.
which is 2 games at once. And I think some other things, but
yeah. Well, for some reason he offered 4, and they at first they played 4 games, and then they played 8 games. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Things. So that was quite interesting. By the way, speaking about comparative value of knight and bishop, do you remember late Grandmaster Goufeld?
Yeah.
Goufeld was asked which move is stronger, bishop or knight. He said, just go to zoo and look at the elephant and look at the horse, and then you will understand why bishops are so much stronger.
Yeah, that's right.
But he also
Yeah.
once wrote that, okay, why do I play the dragon and the king's Indian?
Mhm.
Because I'm an elephant from by birth, because he was so big.
Yeah, he was big.
Yeah.
And
Right. Bishop in Russian is elephant, right? Or what is bishop? No, what is bishop in Russian? Slump? No.
Slump.
Slump.
Yeah.
Which means bishop, I mean the chess bishop, and yes.
Bishop is slow. But you remember also the fantastic illustration on the subject is, if you remember, 23rd game between Bronstein and Botvinnik. Remember Botvinnik?
Yes,
That game is white
against, yes.
And that was precisely illustration why 2 bishops so strong.
Yes. 2 bishops is of course a different thing than 1 bishop.
Yeah, that's right, because they cover all spaces. 1 bishop cover black
yes.
squares, but has nothing to do with white squares.
Yes, I wrote once an article about the way Korchnoi handled the bishops pair. It was not only in end games, also some middle games, and he would put his pawn somewhere on very modest squares. Let's say E1 and D1 or F1 on the back rank, and D1 or E1, let's say, and he would play some modest moves standing there. And then suddenly 1 bishop goes there, 1 bishop goes there. They provoke some crossed action.
Mhm.
Something happens, and then he brings the bishops back and continues playing, but he achieves something stable. And then again, and then the bishop's back. So
in my painting with 2 bishops.
Yes.
Musician's game with
2 bishops.
2 bishops. Very beautiful games.
Really?
One of your games or one of your paintings?
The painting.
My painting, but Anna Musician's games.
Yes, the painting she just showed with yes.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Oh, that's really good. By the way, speaking about Kasparov, well, I know him personally since 1988, and of course, he's an amazing person in many ways. And actually, I remember I like to read different book reviews, whether it's Times or any other publications. And once there was a book, and it was recommended by Gary Kasparov, and immediately turned my attention to this book. It wasn't a review about chess books, it was just books in general. And all of a sudden, Kasparov recommends a book. I immediately researched that, and I found the book, I ordered it, I bought it. And apparently I have this book here with me. The name of the book is Chess Metaphors.
Chess metaphors. Ooh.
It's written by Diego Garcia. It's Artificial Intelligence and the Human Mind.
Wow.
It's absolutely fantastic book. I recommend it to anybody. And Gary wrote actually recommendation for this book, and I'm glad that I acquired it. And actually, from this book, I've learned about the Adrian de Groot and his book, The Choice in Thought in Chess. And in this book, Diego Raskin Gutman, he wrote this book in Spanish. It was translated from Spanish to English. And in this book, he is talking about move choice. And that's what I figured out about this Adrian de Groot. What he writes, I'll just read very quickly. The problem of choosing a move is crucial to understanding chess. Adrian de Groot, see later in this chapter, suggested 3 ways to approach this question, which could be identified as decision-making in chess, or, as he called it, the question of freedom of choice of the player. The first is a formal approach, where the total number of possibilities is evaluated from the point of view of the legal moves. The second is the subset of objectively good moves, that is, those that meet the goal of the position, providing some type of advantage. And the third way concerns the personal decision-making of the chess player, a certain psychological aspect that causes a series of moves, good and bad, to be selected. Free choice, from the point of view of the number of legal moves, ranges from 1 to more than 100 moves. Nevertheless, these extremes, especially the higher one, rarely happen. The lower end occurs in first position, in which the king is under check and can move only to 1 square. De Groot did an analysis showing that around move 20, the average number of possibilities is 38, with a range from 21 to 65. The average total number of moves in a complete game is 32 and a half, waiting in games that reach more than 70 moves. The problem of identifying the subset of good moves is much more complicated than simply counting the total number of possibilities, and falls completely into the domain of strategy and tactics of chess as a game. Thousands of books have been dedicated to this problem, and there are still no general solutions, because each position possesses particular qualities that make it unique. For a given position, there are basically 2 possibilities. One move might exist that is objectively better than others, or more than one move is equally good. There are also possibilities of a Zugzwang, in which all the moves are bad. De Groot labeled the first cases as positions with the objective solution, and the second cases as the positions without objective solution. In this, the number of possibilities is almost never greater than 5. Examples of first are those where there is a move that initiates a winning combination, or when or where, when facing an opponent's check, there is only one move that defends suitably. Examples of second often appear in openings where it's possible to choose more than one line without one being superior to the other. De Groot comments that as opening theory advances, the number of good variations becomes more restricted, although it is also true that the opposite can happen. Variations considered inferior before have been rescued from oblivion and finding a novelty. So are we going back to a Berlin?
Because that's right. Berlin I like to play endgame, so I must say I looked at the Berlin in the 1980s and wondered, is this fine for black? I didn't like white having an extra pass pawn on the king side, but I liked having the two bishops. So maybe I should have played it, but whatever.
Miguel, what do you think about this?
Actually, the Berlin is a bit like Fischer random. Because, okay, black gets these control on light squares and so on, but his position is a mess because the king stands between the rooks.
Right, and can't get it.
So he has to work hard to reach the lost harmony after king takes d8. If he reaches it, then he is doing great. But of course, okay, it's kind of, he has to play this bishop d7, king c8, b6, c5, bishop c6, king b7, and bring his knight to e6 somehow. I mean, okay, the position is so desperate after the opening that he knows what he has to do in order not to lose. And then if he achieves that, then he may even be better. So
yeah, it is amazing. There are some positions where like there's a retreat of black's knight from an active square back to e7.
Yes.
Just wasting a lot of time, and I'm amazed that it's good that black is solid enough that he has time to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, okay, white has some dynamic possibilities sometimes. So,
well, we have to thank Vladimir Kramnik for popularity of Berlin.
Yes.
Yeah.
He defeated Garry Kasparov with essentially this opening. He used it 4 times with the black pieces, and if not more, but at least 4 times. And
I didn't understand why Kasparov didn't switch to c4 or d4 or something. He also
well, you see, Kasparov, it was sort of a psychological defeat for him because basically he would then recognize that in that particular opening there is nothing he can do against Kramnik, and it was a psychological defeat, and he refused. Well, eventually I think he switched to closed openings, but it was a little bit too little, too late, to say. Also, I read a very interesting book by Grandmaster Bariev, and the book is in Russian, although maybe it was translated in other languages. It was about 2 matches of Kramnik with Kasparov and then with Leka. And what he writes that he was under enormous pressure as soon as in the first and probably a third game. And Bariev and others who were seconds of Kramnik, they were waiting from Kramnik to prepare some other opening, get away from Berlin. And they were asking in preparation, so what else should we look at? He says, nothing, just Berlin. I feel very comfortable in this position. He said, but he was pressuring you so much, he will beat you sooner or later. He said, I'd like to see it. Let's play it. I'd like to see how he's going to beat me. And that's the story. So he was very stubborn in using the Berlin defense. And I mean, I don't know, to me, I'm not just professional playing standards. To me, it's just as ugly as it ever can be. But if it works, it works. What can we do? I remember, speaking about harmony in chess, I remember very well, it was during St. John Chess Festival in 1988 in Canada, where Michael Tal became a World Blitz champion. And the last night before the beginning of the Blitz elimination matches, he was playing all night Blitz with Rafael Vaganyan and Kirill Georgiev. And I was there with Nava, my wife, and we drank probably 3 or 4 bottles of vodka. And Tal was playing Blitz nonstop, and he was beating both of them, and nothing they could do about it. And one game I remember he was playing Rafik Vaganian, who was a pretty good Blitz player at the time. And he attacks one of the Tal's pieces, and Tal ignores it and just playing in different move. And Vaganian is asking, "Can I take your piece?" She said, "Of course, Rafik, take it." So he was singing for a minute. He said, "I don't say anything." Okay, he takes the piece. So they're playing a couple more moves. He has nothing for the piece. There is no attack. Okay, there is some activity, but nothing crucial. And Rafik asked, why did you sacrifice the piece? And Tal replied, chess is a game about coordinating the pieces. And the less pieces you have, the easier to coordinate them.
Yeah.
That was his answer. And he beat him in that game.
But okay, you mentioned these 3 names, Tal, Vaganian, and Kirill Georgiev. The final was Tal Vaganian. And
Yeah.
Kirill Georgiev played the semi-final after eliminating Kasparov.
3-1 without losing a game.
Yes, and Kirill did it by achieving perfect harmony with just one piece left, the king, against the queen and bishop. And Kasparov was careless, and he still made it.
I remember that game. It was really something else.
But yes, coordination. The king was well coordinated, not clear with whom, but it was the perfect coordination. Yes, and actually in the semi-final, if the story is correct, what I heard, okay, Kirill, there were four games matches. So Kirill won the first game. In the second game, he's lost. Vaganian has rook and 2 connected pawns against the rook. But okay, the pawns are not so advanced. It's a blitz. They play, and at some point, Vaganian thinks that he got check or that the rook was staying on one rank, but actually it was on a different rank, and he advances with his king into check, and his hand goes to press the clock somehow. If he had pressed the clock, Kirill could have eaten the king or claimed the illegal move. He would have started with 2-0. But Kirill hurried to take the king. And on the way, he even touched Vaganian's hand, pushed it away, not to press the clock, somehow involuntary. And he took the king. And actually, the move was not completed. In such cases, the rule is that he can take the move back if it's illegal. And, and then he won, of course, Vaganian. Instead of 2-0 for Kirill, it was 1-1, and then Vaganian won. I don't know if the story is true, but it makes some sense, yeah.
Okay, let me complete the story. I was standing right next to the game.
Okay.
And Rafik, when he took his king, Rafik resigned. And I told him that, did you press your clock? And Rafik says, no. Yes, then you have to continue the game. You didn't press the clock. And then we got the arbiter. And I explained, because Rafik didn't speak English at the time, I think. And I explained to arbiter what happened. He says, yeah, if he didn't press the clock, then the game can continue. And of course he won.
Okay, but I understand that my story is not true now. But
hold on. What you described is true. You just, there are some details that you have to be right there.
So this is the continuation of the story. So this is the continuation of the story, what you said. Okay.
Okay, now we covered it.
Okay, you covered my. But there was this.
I'm afraid now Kirill Georgiev will be very upset with me.
Yes, but there was some similar case from the point of view of the rules, which is actually absurd. It was the first European Rapid Championship in somebody's play, and Karpov won. But there was the game Karpov-Yudasin, which didn't go well for Karpov. And Karpov blunders. And Vaganian and Yudasin tells him, well, champion, I deliver you mate. I mean, he didn't want to make it on the board. I don't know if it was politeness or some sort of making fun of him. But he told me, okay, it's mate in one. And Karpov resigned and went away. And then he's very angry, of course, that he lost, and he meets this guy, Reicher, who was an arbiter, a Romanian guy. And he tells to Reicher what happened, and he said, okay, but when you make your move with your queen, did you release the queen? And Karpov said, no. And then he said, write a protest that you didn't release the queen. Yes, but he resigned. He had resigned already. And what, did he keep the queen all the way in his hand while he was talking with Reicher and writing the protest with the left hand? No. But somehow the game was replayed and Karpov won. So it was cancelled. But it's stupid. I mean, okay, you resigned. You resigned. I mean, what? There is nothing.
Did he sign the blank, or it was a rapid?
No, I believe I don't think they had digital clocks, so probably they didn't write the moves. Or no, but maybe he still keeps the queen in the hand. I don't know. No, I played with him and his hands were free. No, but okay. But it was, and the funny thing is that in a Soviet magazine in '64, I believe, I read about. I also knew that story of Reicher, who told me what a hero he was. I was like him, you piece of.
Yeah, it's hard to consider him a hero.
And actually, in the '64 magazine, they said that. I mean, what the heck is this guy? I mean, Reicher. How could he somehow influence such a wrong decision? I mean, okay, and it's a Soviet magazine, and Karpov was involved, but okay, it was already
editor at the time of his chess magazine.
Well, it was '88, so it was already Gorbachev time, so you could speak more freely, actually.
Yeah, it was somewhat different. Well, coming back to our theme, what we discussed, how to enjoy chess, of course, by books, beautiful games, stories. There are many ways to enjoy chess. However, I'm afraid about something what's happening today. I think that chess is being devaluated. I remember times, and of course probably you do, when every game played by greats like Kasparov, Fischer, Karpov, Tal, and others, it was a story. It was being commented by several grandmasters. Every move had its meaning and analyzed and studied. And today we see all these people, Carlson and his friends, are playing these games. Nobody cares about these games anymore. They're being devaluated. There is no thoughts in these games. It's almost like they're playing some kind of video game, which reminds chess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not chess what we consider to be a chess. A chess, like Tarrasch said, would make man happy. And I can't see how this games can make man happy. I really can't. Any thoughts on that?
Well, we've been talking about Chess 960, and I found a game that looks like Chess 960 the way it was played. It was played in a fantastic and crazy and wonderful manner, the way it unfolds. It's a game by Maria 2 years ago against Elizabeth Pates.
Maria.
I wonder if we can show that, or maybe you could tell us what was going on, because I think that has a lot of the qualities that we've been talking about with chess variants, including the king staying in the center.
So finally, we have an expert in the field.
Oh, yes, that's right. So I don't know how best to show this game. It's quite a game to look at.
Okay.
I can show it from my screen, or maybe if
Sure.
you can get it on yours. Okay, sure, yes. So, all right, so let me share my screen to a chess-based window. Let's see. I have to go. Okay, so this is sharing my entire screen. I see. Okay, that's what happens. All right, so I can make this larger. Yes, so this is a game from the Romanian Team Championship. And it's a French defense, so we know that fantastic things can happen in the French defense, except that This is especially true when black plays the way I used to play with the queen's fianchetto. Now we know we are in for a long, very positional game. That there are not going to be light.
Petrosian used to play this way, b6.
Yeah, I think so.
Fortunev played it, Botvinnik played it, Petrosian played it occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And in this position, Petrosian played bishop f8. Back.
Right, and that's the amazing thing. Now that's cutting off white's attacking idea with queen g4, but you're not playing anymore that you're going to damage white's queenside pawns and try to put pressure there. So this is going to be a very slow strategic game. Indeed, there's more prophylaxis on the king side, and this is just like chess 960. I mean, pawns are being moved. I guess they're happy with the squares the pieces are on, and here we come, more pawns being moved. So now, very slow build up by black, and maybe white's bishop on a4 is already very unhappy. So now more pawn moves. This is the way people play chess on 12 by 12 boards with the Arabian rules a long time. Okay, white maneuvers, and that's putting the queen in front of the bishop. I guess it's going somewhere. It's going there. Now that is fingering a weak part, and I apologize. I thought looking at the position later that black never castled, but there we have black castled. And by putting the knight back on its original square, now you are guarding f7. This is
and you know what are the next three moves? Bishop a8, rook e8, queen d8.
Right.
And we will have a fish.
Yeah, it's difficult to coordinate your pieces when they are all there. When they have not been exchanged. But actually now this is lovely. This is what I always dreamed about when I was playing the queen's fianchetto defense. Because not only is that bishop on a gray diagonal and white's bishop is not going to challenge it for a long time, but also it is preventing white from castling. So there we go. Now we shall bring up other pawns. Here we have 5 pawns on the third rank now. So white brings up pawns. This is different kind of strategy. The bishop, that's really a defensive fianchetto, I would say. Now the bishop occupies a wonderful square. Maybe I don't like that move because white can play knight d2 and bother the bishop, or maybe the bishop is going to entrench itself with black playing b5. We'll see. Okay, so now this is another very Nimzovich-like move. Preparing to threaten something, but I don't know if f6 is actually going to happen. Let's see.
Pawn on g6 is vulnerable.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I guess, Marie, you decided to retreat your bishop. What were you thinking here?
Actually, I don't remember, but this is the game probably first my French game or something, and I don't understand about this position. I see it position first time in my life. I was very nervous, and probably here is back in trouble, little.
Yeah.
I started playing this a few years ago, not so few actually. So I showed Maria because Maria frequently forgets concrete lines.
Yes.
So I showed
after 3 moves, I don't remember nothing. Anything, and I just play. And the French Open for me it's
suitable for such. Yeah.
Very here I would be worried, but maybe it's not so bad because white's army is not very well coordinated either. Though I think white could castle now.
But probably king is not the right place. King is probably on the e-file better than here.
Then on G1. Your king.
My king.
Yes, but you connected rooks.
Yes, white's rooks are not connected.
I remember one Greek lady. She was playing for a Greek national team. I think Maria Botsari.
I remember that, yes.
Oh, and once she was offered the draw, about equal position, but complicated. No, she refused it right away. And she was asked why she refused the draw. She says, well, because I will play the next 60 moves fast enough. I will checkmate her sooner or later.
Mhm. So black is playing with the rooks opposite white's queen. Now white gets out of the way. And now black's king comes back to center. Actually, that's a very reassuring move. It solidifies e6 and a lot of other things. So that white is no longer going to sacrifice on g6 and then take on e6. So, okay, now the king is, white threatened f7, so the king went back to guard f7. And now we are going to have our first exchange in the game. But that knight is lovely. I mean, this is only 3 pawns remain on their home squares, and now maybe the armies will start coming up to fight.
Again, if you would ask me who are the players, I would say that it's probably Stockfish against Houdini game.
Yeah, it's a very slow rollout, build-up, very much like a computer chess. And I'm not using an engine, so I don't know who the engine thinks is better here. I just want to enjoy the unrolling of the moves. Well, that's a threat, but it's only the shadow of a threat. So now black can expand on the king side a bit. Well, knight c5 may be a threat now. So that's a very good defensive move. See, white was threatening knight c5 and invading on b7, and now b7 is doubly guarded. So I think that now the rooks are arranged a different way, and black has the f-file now. Black gains on the king side. White will do something on the queen side, but now look at that, rook h2. What a sorry move to have to make. Wow.
Typical computer move. It is computer.
Yeah. And what's neat though is black played the knight back. Now, if white's rook went back, it would not be a repetition of the position because now white has lost the right to castle. So anyway, white did something else. Well, the knights come back again. Now we start. This is the first exchange of a heavy piece. But look, black is attacking. I'd say black's army is much better coordinated. White's army is still home. So okay, there, classic king side attack.
Here is trouble.
This was time trouble now, or end of time trouble. So what did you think here?
Just here, I believe we had a trade note, and now I just find something. Okay, I don't know, chance for the. I don't know.
Counterplay.
Counterplay or psychological play.
You didn't mind being outrated by almost 400 points.
You know, Maria has this theory that Russian players, Russian people in general, historically, they are so used to the fact that life is a mess, that they are in trouble. I mean, historical attack from all the sides by different empires and so on.
Agree.
So in chess, I mean, okay, getting a position like she got with the piece on the back rank, forgetting all the lines, is just a stimulant to, just like I said in the Berlin. I mean, it looks so awful that you know what you have to do to get out of the mess. So somehow, yes. But of course, now strategically, black starts losing some ground after this pawn break.
Yes,
right. So why did you capture with the pawn and not the fifth? This is an amazing move, allowing white 2 connected passed pawns in the center, but you're not afraid.
Probably here, or maybe on the next move, I had a draw, but I didn't see it.
Okay. So are you worse here? Was that what you decided after the game? I don't know. It looks...
It looks unclear optically.
Yes, but I think I have the chance, but okay, but it's trouble. It's very big trouble.
Yeah. B6 is hanging, but, you know, is it going to matter? Well, you came in here, so now you really are counterattacking, and look, white now has 3 free pawns in the center. This is definitely 21st century chess.
Next to the board, there is a grandmaster looking at how his wife is facing these 3.
So it reminds me Le Bourdonnais pawns.
Yes.
Yeah.
But look, G1 is okay. I don't know.
Unnecessary, maybe? Maybe D5?
Maybe in 6? I don't
No,
know.
D5 doesn't work.
No, defend.
D5
No.
doesn't.
Is
Rook
6
takes B6.
don't work?
No, but E6, okay, there will be a blockade. Queen F6, let's say.
No.
What is the big, or Queen C7 even.
Yeah.
Queen
The Rook
C7.
G1 was certainly a very
Right,
afraid
right.
move. So now you stabilize the position. Wow, so this is very defensive. On the other hand, white cannot play E6, and maybe white cannot guard this pawn very well. All white captured. So if white plays Rook F1, then what happens? It was incredible. I mean, this position is. I mean, it looks like black is falling apart. All the pawns are going to drop, but let's see how you stabilize. Okay, now you're coming in behind white's king.
Maybe
Queen A5 maybe here was the right move. I don't,
or not.
or Bishop A5 and
Bishop F5.
and Queen A5. Yeah, there was
That
some.
would be good. Yes. White might fall apart. Yeah,
Mhm.
because white's rook on G1 is not playing. That's the main feature of the position. So even though it looks like black is in trouble, black has an extra rook for tactical purposes. Okay, now you come in. Now this pawn, which has been sitting there the whole game, has an active role. And now look, black's rooks have been like cannons in front of the king, more like Chinese chess, where they have always stayed now in the king's. But Chinese chess has.
Here is yes, it's a lost game. I understand here.
Is white lost now? Maybe white's blocking
No,
it.
no,
Black.
no, probably black. Yes,
Black
but
is.
she continued putting up
lost.
resistance because now there is some threats here. Now the king went back. I mean, first the king castled out of the danger, then it went back to the danger, and now again it moves closer to the danger to protect some files. And
Right. This is
Yeah.
you have the C file covered. So
in a practical game for white, I mean, okay, white thinks she's moving, she's winning, but okay, black parries the immediate threats. So okay, you didn't win yet.
looks sad, and I think Queen B4 probably wins for white.
That's what it calls living dangerously.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. Queen B4 probably win. Oh no, Queen A6 check, maybe, and Queen C4. Now you might. Well, Bishop D3.
No, at this stage, I believe it's lost. But okay, she
It's
has
completely lost.
to make some decisions. Yes.
Oh, so white made this decision. Why did white put the?
No. But Bishop B4 was a blunder because Queen A2, and now it's trouble.
Yes, it's
okay.
winning.
So white underestimated this. Oh, because you're going to come in on F2. Yeah.
If King F3, then I believe Rook F6.
Queen F2 mate.
Yes.
Oh,
Queen
but
F3 it's not a mate. It's a mate. Okay.
Oh, it's made at all the squares, D2 and F2. So white had to interpose.
No. After Bishop C2, Queen C2. If Bishop C2, Queen C2, then no. The way it was, Queen A2 check. She played Rook B2. If Bishop C2, then takes King F3, and then it's not a mate with Queen F2. But I think Rook F6 is the best.
Rook F6. Yeah, this is going to be crashing.
Yeah. Because okay, Queen F2 cannot be bad, but this is the clearest.
Right. So Elizabeth Pates gave up the rook, and now, well, white still is. White still has some chances here, but let's see how you finished off the game. Rook B8. Okay, that's pretty strong. Oh, now you're getting the benefit.
Comes with these pawns.
You advanced on the king side. Yeah. So this is leaking everywhere for white. White has these 3 pawns in the center, but they're not going anywhere. Okay, white just made a break for something, and now, now it doesn't matter which rook white captures. White's army is completely annihilated.
Mm-hmm.
So very good.
Wow, fantastic game. Thank you very much for showing this game.
Yeah.
We had a fantastic show today. I really would like to say thank you so much to
Thank you. And so you can join the game. It was very nice.
special
Okay,
thank
sure
to
thing,
you.
yeah.
And hope we'll have a next program next Saturday, and we'll have it just as enjoyable. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye-bye, everybody. See you all next Saturday.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.